I am calling back to order this meeting of the Portland City Council. Welcome, everybody. We're back. Rebecca, can we please read item number 3?
I believe we need to gavel in as the...
I thought I'd do that first. I thought we read it first and then I gavel in. I'll gavel in first. How about that? Colleagues, today, as part of the fiscal year 26-27 budget process, is part of it as prescribed by Oregon State budget law. The Prosper Portland Budget Committee, as Portland, I'm going to start over. Woo! As Prosper Portland's Budget Committee, Council will receive Prosper's proposed budget for the fiscal year 26-27 and take public testimony. With unanimous consent, I will now recess this meeting of the Portland City Council until no later than 4:59 p.m. and convene this meeting of the Prosper Portland Budget Committee. Rebecca, will you please call the roll of the Prosper Portland Budget Committee?
Good afternoon. Canal.
Here.
Pirtle-Guinea.
Here.
Ryan. Koyamaline.
Here.
Murillo. Novick.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Green.
Here.
Zimmerman.
Here.
Avalos. Smith.
Here.
Dunphy.
Here. In this first convening of the Prosper Portland Budget Committee, Prosper Portland staff will deliver their proposed budget and budget message. The fiscal year 26-27 Prosper Portland proposed budget was published and made available on the to the Budget Committee and the public on April 20th, 2026. I would now like to welcome DCA Donnie Oliveira, who will introduce the team.
Council President, can I read the item into the record?
Now you can read item. Thank you.
Agenda item 3. Council convenes as Prosper Portland Budget Committee to receive the Prosper Portland FY 2026-27 proposed budget and hold a public hearing. Document number 2026-142.
Welcome. Take it away.
Thank you, Council President. Good afternoon, Council. My name is Donnie Oliveira. I'm the Deputy City Administrator for the Community and Economic Development Service Area, and I'm joined by Prosper Board Chair Talvo Cruz. Councilors, like all city bureaus, as the Prosper Portland team developed their budget, they were following the same guidance as all the bureaus related to analyzing their service levels, looking at various cut scenarios. In short, the presentation you'll see today outlines the same challenges as the conversations you heard earlier this morning that the city bureaus contemplated as the mayor produced his proposed budget, and they'll go into those details. As you contemplate this bureau's budget, a couple of things I wanted to share for context. First, this body over the last year has discussed oversight and governance of Prosper Portland's finances and operations. Those are appropriate conversations for this body to have. And I also just want to outline that this budget is a key example of how this body interacts with Prosper, how you provide direct guidance through the budget to ensure that your values and goals are manifested in their operations. But I'll also note that over the past year, especially since this new form of government has taken on its shape and form, a real partnership and synergy with Prosper leadership has emerged, especially under the leadership of Executive Director Cornell Wesley. Programming within Prosper has aligned with your office's requests and goals, the administration's requests and goals, the mayor's, as well as partnership across all city bureaus. And what's resulted in is programming that is reflective of a citywide vision for economic development and equitable development in particular. I'd also like to note that over the past year, as we've aligned more with city core values and mission, we've seen a real partnership within the service area structure. So Prosper working with the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability or the Housing Bureau, working with PBOT on events. The nexus there is that as our redevelopment agency, as the stewards of Advance Portland, Prosper is inherently invested in the city's goals and values. Their vision is directly aligned with yours in the sense that they want to see Portland thrive. They're the point where for small business, they're the point for new events and new activities happening in our city, and we want our budget to reflect what you all see for the future of the city and how they do their business. And so as you think about this today, you listening to the staff's presentation, contemplate where you'd like to see those advancements continue. And with that, I'd like to, I want to acknowledge, that Executive Director Cornell Wesley is not joining us today. He had a pre-planned event, he's out of town, and that travel was determined long before we had this day scheduled. So he's not joining us for today, but his staff will be able to amply convey the budget. And with that, I'll pass it over to Tavo.
Great. Hi there. Good afternoon, Council President Dunphy, Vice President Clark, and councilors. I'm Tavo Cruz, the chair of the Prosper Portland Board of Commissioners, and I'm happy to be here today. I'm joined by my fellow board member, Felisa Hagans, our Chief Financial Officer, Tony Barnes, Economic Development Director, Andrew Fitzpatrick, and Interim Director of Development and Investment, Amy Nagy. We are pleased to be here this afternoon to present the fiscal year 2026-27 proposed budget to City Council, serving as Prosper Portland's Budget Committee. I'm going to kick us off and then hand it to Tony to provide an overview of the budget, key outcomes, and our strategic priorities. Andrew and Amy will then share how those priorities show up in the programs and projects the agency leads and collaborates on with our network of partners. Andrew will also summarize the impacts related to general fund cuts that we have incorporated and the estimated impacts of those cuts. The team will highlight some of the work happening through the city's economic development strategy, Advance Portland, now completing its third year providing a strategic framework. The budgeted resources and investments presented here align with the mayor's proposed budget and Prosper Portland's 10-year financial sustainability plan, which guides the agency's financial and business practices in the context of declining TIF revenues and underscores the value of the flexible resources provided in supporting inclusive economic prosperity. Accordingly, the proposed investments deploy a diversity of funds in a social impact investment model to help Portland's small businesses, traded sector industries, and the central city and neighborhood commercial districts to stabilize and grow through community-driven, equity-centered programs, TIF district action plans, small business grants and loans, and the Neighborhood Prosperity Network. We will start off with a slide, there it is, illustrating our organizational governance. I appreciate how this slide shows the agency's structure, working with Mayor Wilson and DCA Oliveira, our close alignment with the Portland Housing Bureau, and highlighting the critical role City Council plays in appointments and approvals, as well as strategic policy guidance. Speaking on behalf of our all-volunteer board, appointed by the mayor and confirmed by the City Council, we are committed to working closely and collaboratively with each of you to accomplish our shared goals of inclusive growth and shared prosperity. We are open to your feedback and perspectives on how we can most effectively deliver results to this community that we all love. Before I pass it to Tony, on behalf of our board, I'd like to thank the members of the Community Budget Committee, whose names you'll see shortly, as well as the many community partners and Prosper Portland staff involved in preparation of this budget. We appreciate the considerable time, energy, and commitment by everyone involved to refine and prioritize investments in alignment with both citywide and geographically specific priorities. Our team has worked very hard and made many difficult decisions to ensure that we created a budget that aligns with and is responsive to Mayor Wilson's proposed budget. I know as a city, we have a very serious budget deficit and the challenges we face are significant. I also believe that Portland is emerging from the negative trends of the last few years, and there are signs of growth. In order to maintain this momentum, we must continue to invest in our residents and workforce, our employers and our small businesses, and signature development projects at this time. As a proud born and raised Portlander and a passionate advocate for all things Portland, I've seen the city aggressively and creatively rise to overcome an array of difficulties over the years, and I am confident that we can collectively overcome the challenges in front of us. My fellow board members and I, along with a committed team at Prosper Portland, are eager to work alongside you to ensure that our city flourishes. Thank you for your leadership and partnership, and I'll now hand the presentation over to our CFO, Tony Barnes.
Thank you, Chair Cruz, and good afternoon, Council President, Vice President, members of Council. I'm Tony Barnes, Prosper CFO. Our budget was submitted yesterday and available both on the Council Clerk's website and Prosper Portland's budget site at prosperportland.us. The budget document is presented in accordance with Oregon State budget law and summarizes the details of all funds for appropriation. In addition to the 26-27 proposed budget document and associated materials presented for today's hearing, we also have provided a link to each of you for our budget compendium located at prosperportland.us/fund balances. This compendium provides a specific information on how Prosper Portland's fund balances are reserved or restricted for specific uses, and for what types of projects and programs they are allocated to. The fund balance compendium, working together with our 5-year forecast that's included on page 128 of our proposed budget document, provide a comprehensive view of how our fund balances are programmed over the 5-year forecast. For today's presentation, I'll present a budget at a high level and then hand it over to Andrew and Amy to provide an overview of the citywide economic development programming, TIF district, and strategic investment fund budgets. In summary, all funds presents $324 million or $322 million net of cash transfers, $202 million then resources, $202 million in expenditures, and has total staffing of 94 positions. That's down from 104 positions in the current fiscal year due to a reduction in force we are currently undertaking to align with the mayor's budget and other Prosper funding constraints. Our resources include ongoing fund balance, primarily in the TIF districts that are reserved for specific action plan and TIF district projects. Not all resources are anticipated to be spent next fiscal year, and therefore you'll see an estimated reserve for future year expenditures totaling $111 million that'll carry into fiscal year 27-28 and future fiscal years of the forecast. Most resources are contained within tax increment districts, followed by the Strategic Investment Fund, and planned resources from the PSEF agreements and the Mayor's General Fund proposal and other resources. Of the $202 million in expenditures that make up the operating capital budget, the majority of the planned expenditures are for property redevelopment activities within the tax increment districts, followed by housing set-aside programming, citywide economic development activities, followed by administration. Next slide, please. This next slide highlights our business lines that Andrew and Amy will be presenting on. The left slide illustrates citywide economic development business lines focused on small business supports, business retention and expansion, and business district capacity building. This program relies on city general fund funding, recreational cannabis tax funding, and other citywide funds received by Prosper. The right side of the slide shown here focuses on capital investments and real estate management to support access to capital through lending, equitable development, real estate, asset management, those activities in support of small business, affordable commercial tenanting, and redevelopment activities. This programming relies on primarily TIF district resources and strategic investment fund resources. Next slide, please. Our budget process includes engagement with our Community Budget Committee throughout the formation of the budget. The 15-member committee, who are appointed to a 2-year term by Prosper's executive director, includes members who broadly represent diverse backgrounds, experience, expertise to economic and community development within Portland. For more than 10 years, the CBC has been the community body that reviews Prosper's general fund, enterprise zone, and TIF district budgets in alignment with the agency's mission, vision, and values. The committee annually provides a letter to the board and council discussing their priorities and recommendations. The letter for fiscal year 26-27 is included within our filed budget document, providing their findings and recommendations related to the budget, largely focused on ongoing general fund programming. This slide provides a view of Prosper's primary funding sources and how the sources and uses work together. General fund delivers small business assistance, traded sector, job growth, events and film work, workforce development, activities, and other citywide programming. General fund and other citywide funds work alongside the Strategic Investment Fund, TIF and PSEF funding, which are programmed to provide access to capital and equitable development inside and outside of TIF districts. TIF expenditures reflect active and sunsetting TIF district resources. The majority of expenditures are tied to finalizing district action plans and other programming, as there are limited resources in the 6 new districts that were established in 2024. While it's common for TIF resources to be limited in the first 5 years of a new district, this year has been very unprecedented, with 4 of the 6 new districts having no TIF resources, and we anticipate that trend to continue into next fiscal year. PSEF budgets represent intergovernmental agreements to administer the Collaborating for Climate grant support, as well as energy efficient improvements for business and industry, as well as existing 5-year IGAs that provide small business grants for energy efficient improvements. SIF, established in the 2023 Financial Sustainability Plan and guided by our board's financial investment policy, diversifies Prosper's resources beyond general fund and TIF to provide a revolving source of fund that supports future and operating and capital budgets. This funding provides a unique capital resource that can be used, unlike TIF resources, supporting commercial and business development through working capital and property acquisition programming. As with any revolving fund, the principal is intended to be repaid and reinvested over time to provide an ongoing source of capital while generating resources to augment Prosper's operating funds. This slide illustrates the last 2 fiscal years of city general fund resources contracted with Prosper Portland for economic development programming. The blue section here shows ongoing resources. The green shows one-time resources. Overall, in nominal dollars, there has been a net 21% decrease since fiscal year 24-25 due to the combination of constraints and changes in one-time funding. The changes for 26-27 include a net reduction in nominal dollars of $400,000 when including the addition of the proposed $1 million one-time resources for the Prosperity Investment Program or storefront programming. However, adjusted for inflation from a current service level perspective, that's about $1.8 million less than the current fiscal year, looking at current programming and not including the new one-time funding. Next slide, please. I'll finalize the summary here by showing total expenditures by appropriation category. Summarizing total expenditures, the graph illustrates the full expenditure budget when all funds are rolled together across all the funding sources using Prosper's appropriation categories that you'll see in the budget document for all funds. The categories in each fund are driven by specific projects and programs and allocations between each category. The categories will depend on specific fund constraints, such as TIF plans, action plans, and other guiding documents. In summary, this illustrates that 54%, or $109 million, is focused on property redevelopment, which includes everything from property management activities, asset management activities, as well as grant programs for small businesses and commercial lending programs. And these are contained primarily in the TIF districts. Housing funds are calculated based on the specific housing set-aside amounts in coordination with the Housing Bureau for the housing set-aside of each district. Infrastructure programming is all within TIF districts as well and focused on transportation and parks projects in coordination with city bureaus. Economic development programming is largely focused by general fund and citywide funds supporting small business supports, workforce development, business retention and expansion. And finally, administration represents staff and operations that support the implementation of all business lines. This includes HR, legal, policy, as well as our facility and system infrastructure costs, audits, and about $1 million of general fund overhead and other administrative costs that Prosper provides to the city. And with that, I'm going to hand over the next slide to Andrew.
Thanks, Tony. Good afternoon, Council President, Council Vice President, City Councilors. For the record, I'm Andrew Fitzpatrick, and I proudly serve as the Director of Economic Development at Prosper Portland. I'll provide you with a brief overview of the citywide economic development programs that Tony just mentioned, which are made possible by the city's general fund. With your support, all of these programs are designed and implemented to meet the objectives of Advance Portland, to drive inclusive growth, support equitable household wealth creation, revitalize our central city and neighborhood business districts, and connect Portlanders to quality jobs in future-ready sectors. As Tony mentioned, the general fund remains a critical resource for these business lines because it funds ongoing programs, which are offered citywide and include things like technical assistance, which cannot be paid for with TIF funds. In terms of our business lines, I'll start with the business retention and expansion area on the left side of this slide. First, in terms of business retention and expansion, we support the growth of our key traded sectors to drive quality job creation for Portlanders in industries like athletic and outdoor and green cities. We advance equity through Portland Means Progress to help employers offer accessible employment and internship opportunities and intentional procurement and local spending with underrepresented communities. And we work closely with regional partners like GPI and Business Oregon to market the city and attract investment and talent that bolster our tax base and our quality of life. This work has resulted in 52 business expansions or recruitments in Portland, created over 600 new living wage jobs for Portlanders, and brought in about $240 million in new private investment to our city over the last 2 years alone. This supports the tax revenue that underpins our city's general fund. Next, in the small business support space, we operate the Inclusive Business Resource Network, which connects entrepreneurs to culturally specific business advising, financial resources, new marketplace opportunities, and professional services like legal and accounting. Our one-year-old Office of Small Business provides navigational support to businesses for permitting and other city services and connects businesses to other community resources. We work with new startups as well as multi-generational Portland companies across the city. Together with IBRN, we are serving more than 1,600 small businesses each year. Our Office of Events and Film offers financial and technical assistance to events and film producers to showcase Portland's cultural landscape and capitalize on economic activity from diverse programming and local production. Last year, OEF provided support for 43 events, which drove more than 782,000 visits to the city and leveraged more than $9 million in industry investment. To support workforce development, we partner with Work Systems, Inc., who's here with us today, to deliver adult and youth workforce training programs. We also offer a Workforce Navigator program that is connected to our Neighborhood Prosperity Network program. In a typical year, about 1,700 participants receive workforce training through these programs, with 71% being people of color. And finally, we offer assistance to our city's 7 neighborhood prosperity districts, as well as all business districts across the city by providing capacity building workshops, direct technical assistance, and offering grants for marketing, events, and placemaking investments. This initiative just approved recently $150,000 in 17 grants, which is our continued commitment to business districts across the city after shifting funding away from Venture Portland last year. Next slide, please. The Office of Small Business was created with general fund resources 1 year ago as part of the Advanced Portland Strategic Plan and in response to a need for better centralized access and service to our city's small business community. The figure on the left represents businesses served across council districts by the Office of Small Business, which is a product of our intentional outreach and marketing efforts, office hours, and engagement in many different community events in each of your districts. And on the right, you can also see the wide array of different assistance that's been identified by small businesses in terms of city bureau referrals. Though we have a lot more work to do, we value the cross-bureau collaboration, bringing down silos, which we have built over the last few years, or last year, I should say, to strengthen our city's responsiveness and customer service to small businesses. Next slide, please. The mayor's proposed budget results in the reduction of 5 general fund funded positions at Prosper Portland, which is a 16% net reduction in force of all general fund positions at our agency. The program cuts in the proposed budget to workforce development and the Inclusive Business Resource Network will mean 700 to 900 fewer Portlanders will be served by workforce development programs, and 175 fewer small businesses will be supported annually. The provision of $1 million in new one-time funding for tenant improvement grants will provide access to about 22 small businesses that take on new storefront leases, leverage private investment to reactivate vacant storefronts, and encourage street-level vibrancy. Next slide, please. Most of our general fund program offers have absorbed reductions in the last 3 fiscal years, and some of this has been mitigated due to one-time resources that have been available. What this graph demonstrates is the funding levels that are in the mayor's proposed budget across program offers in FY 26-27, and specifically the braiding of general funds with other funding resources like PSEF, SIF, the Community Development Block Grant Program from the federal government, and recreational cannabis tax dollars. This is our effort to leverage general fund dollars with other funds to form coherent programs that maximize community impact across the city. And now I'll hand this over to my colleague Amy Nagy, who will speak to our work with TIF districts and with the Strategic Investment Fund.
Great. Thank you, Andrew. Good afternoon, Council President, Vice President, City Councilors. For the record, my name is Amy Nagy, and I currently serve as the Interim Director for Development and Investment at Prosper Portland. As Andrew mentioned, in this next section, I will go ahead and provide an update on the upcoming fiscal year's proposed budget for the TIF districts with key project highlights, as well as activities surrounding the 6 new TIF districts. I will close with the investment strategy for the agency's Strategic Investment Fund, also referred to as SIF. Next slide, please. This slide provides a reminder of where council districts overlay the TIF districts. It shows where TIF plans, action plans, and resources are available to invest in each member's area. So for instance, in District 1, houses Gateway, Space, Lentstown Center, as well as East 205. District 2 includes Coley, Interstate Corridor, as well as the new Lloyd Holiday. District 3 encompasses 82nd, as well as the Central East Side. And District 4 is West Side and North Macadam. In this current fiscal year, this council approved the Coley TIF District Action Plan and appointed community leadership committees to co-create action plans for the 3 new East Portland TIF districts, which are now underway. Next slide, please. This chart shows all planned investments in each of the TIF districts by category, including both economic development and affordable housing. In total, we anticipate investing $124 million in the next fiscal year, which also includes the housing set-aside. Larger investments will be focused in the more established districts, as Tony mentioned, where the resources are already concentrated, but this does include Coley. As we also mentioned, there is that delay in TIF generation within the 6 new districts, and so therefore that we have limited resources for them in the next fiscal year. The details of planned investments are on page 128 of your budget document that has the 5-year forecast for all of the TIF districts. Next slide, please. Advance Portland is the city's economic development strategy. It frames the agency's investments to deliver on inclusive and sustainable growth. The TIF district action plans and key projects are nestled within the plan's objectives. Previously, our budget presentations to you all included detailed information on planned activities within each TIF district. But to save time today, I'll focus on key highlights aligned with our objectives, and then I'm happy to provide any more detailed information to you all upon request. All of the TIF districts, there's a kind of core work that is done, and that includes supporting small and traded sector businesses, as well as property owners and community-based organizations. We maintain ongoing community engagement and coordinate with Bureau partners on district-specific initiatives and investments to create healthy and connected neighborhoods. In addition to our core work, highlighting just a few of the projects that are focused on creating more of a vibrant central city. Following your approval of the Spring Tau last week, we're moving forward with the mixed income housing project that will produce 230 units on parcel 6 at the Broadway corridor, which has been a longtime city priority, and we thank you for that. We are also pursuing additional middle-income housing through office-to-residential pilots, as well as supporting the implementation of OMSI's master plan, which will unlock development and opportunities for future housing as well as job creation. Looking ahead to our neighborhood commercial districts, Prosper will be continuing to collaborate with PHB and our partners at the Williams and Russell Community Development Corporation in Northeast to deliver on the community's vision for a business hub that supports wealth creation and housing options via affordable rental units as well as home ownership opportunities. We'll also stay in close connection with our District 1 counselors on neighborhood activations, housing projects, and business support in Gateway. 92nd and Herald project will commence construction, bringing another 200 units of new housing online in the Lentstown Center. And we will make resources available to tenant commercial vacancies along key corridors in that area as well. Additional investments will continue to support entrepreneurs of color through access to capital, affordable commercial spaces, as well as our targeted grant programs. We'll continue to support a diverse construction industry through our project investments. Next slide, please. The Community Leadership Committees, or CLCs as we refer to them, for the new 3 East Portland TIF districts have begun developing their respective action plans using the co-creation model developed in COLI. Prosper and PHB are co-leading this effort on behalf of the city. And we started with 2 joint meetings with all of the CLCs to launch the process and have since transitioned into district-specific discussions. We have allocated $352,000 across both Prosper and PHB budgets to support the planning process in these districts. Additional funding will be available for implementation once the action plans are adopted. We expect to return to you all in early 2027 with those draft action plans for your review and adoption. The table on this slide in the upper left shows projected TIF funding levels starting with a 5-year forecast. These projections will be updated as we receive information from the state, particularly on utility assessments this summer that will impact TIF revenues, and we'll have a better sense of what will be available for investment over the next couple of years. In the upcoming fiscal year, however, resources will continue to be allocated at the 55% split for economic development and 45% for affordable housing. Next slide, please. Following Council's direction in June 2025, Prosper Portland and PHB began convening community stakeholders in the Central City, known as our working groups, to develop the 5-year action plans for those 3 new districts, known as Central East Side Corridor, Lloyd Holiday, and the West Side. We've noted previously, based on the recent data from Multnomah County, the current outlook for the revenue in Central City TIF districts projects no tax increment growth through, at a minimum, this fiscal year. As a result, finalizing the action plans for the TIF districts has been paused until TIF resources can become available. Prosper Portland did identify a modest amount of program income available from concluded or sunsetting Central City TIF districts to cover expenditures for the first year of program priorities in order to maintain the economic development momentum in each of these districts. Funds will be invested in alignment with each district working group's priorities. So for instance, in the West Side, we'll be issuing this through grants to activate the public realm and continue to improve the foot traffic that we've been seeing recently. In Lloyd, we will be supporting small businesses, retaining them in the district, as well as particularly working with the Lloyd Mall tenants to find suitable spaces for them in the district and support that with grants. And in the Central East Side, we'll continue with grants supporting small businesses, retaining large employers, as well as leveraging previous investments to activate public realm near OMSI. We will need to assess the resources for the following fiscal year and continue to coordinate with our Central City working groups as we anticipate TIF will be delayed, particularly in downtown, for several years. Next slide, please. So as we shift to the anticipated investments through the Strategic Investment Fund, also referred to as SIF, I want to briefly recap its purpose, its uses of the funds, as well as governance, and especially just for those who are a little less familiar with it. As Tony previously mentioned, in 2023, the Prosper Board adopted a financial sustainability plan that created SIF, and that was to diversify the agency's funding resources in response to declining TIF revenues and to stabilize our operational resources over time. The SIF is capitalized with program income. This is primarily proceeds from property sales and loan repayments. These funds are invested through loans and strategic property acquisitions that generate net operating income. That income is reinvested into the fund to support new projects and cover the agency's operating and capital costs. The SIF is a lending and property acquisition tool that's available to support geographies outside of TIF districts. As a reminder, TIF is limited to up to 15% of the city's geography at any given time. So our ability to invest outside of TIF districts is very critical as part of our economic instruments. For this to work, the fund must stay revolving, meaning investments should generate returns so they can be reinvested over time. In 2025, the board updated the financial investment policy to establish additional guidelines for how SIF funds are deployed. These resources are used for business and commercial lending, acquiring income-generating real estate, and renovating those properties to keep them marketable and well-managed, and covering some of the administrative costs needed to carry out these activities. Grants and infrastructure projects do not revolve by their nature and therefore are not eligible to be funded through SIF. In alignment with the city charter and the citywide policy, you all serve as Prosper's budget committee, ensuring that SIF investments align with the city goals and policies, and ultimately you will approve our budget. All potential SIF investments are made in a manner consistent with the agency's existing financial investment policy that is approved by the Prosper Portland Board. Next slide, please. So as shown here, SIF investments are aligned with broader city goals around economic and housing development and support the multiple kind of policy frameworks that we have in this city. And those include Advance Portland, the housing production strategy that is led by Bureau of Planning and Sustainability, the social and limited profit housing models that are led by the Portland Housing Bureau, and Council's recently adopted Unified Housing Strategy. Again, SIF funds are flexible and can be deployed citywide, including for uses that are not TIF eligible, such as providing working capital for small businesses or loans to purchase commercial property. As part of the 4-year investment strategy, there is $21 million that's allocated for our lending activities. Of that $11.5 million is being used to expand access to capital for private and community borrowers, for working capital, to purchase equipment, and make real estate investments. The remaining $9.5 million is dedicated to middle-income housing developers. We recently put a notice of application for those who have shovel-ready projects but are seeking to close their financing gap, and we're now receiving those responses. In addition, $28 million is being invested through Prosper's real estate team to acquire income-generating properties. This includes commercial buildings whose spaces can be leased at stable rents, as well as middle-income housing properties that generate income. In both cases, Prosper can help stabilize rents by limiting returns, demonstrating the kind of market models that this council and partner bureaus are seeking to advance. Overall, SIF is a tool to support our shared goals, helping businesses invest, grow, and more importantly, remain in the city, and increasing and stabilizing housing. So I will now hand this over to my Commissioner Higgins to close out the presentation.
Council President Dunphy, Vice President Clark, members of the council, thank you so much for having me. I'm Felisa Higgins. I'm a volunteer on the Prosper Board. I live in the 82nd Avenue TIF District in District 1, shout out to my district. And I work for the Service Employees International Union, which is a labor union in Oregon. I'm here in my day job. I advocate for an economy that actually works for everyone, and so it's a very good fit for the Prosper Board. So I want to call your attention to this outcomes and impact slide showing some of the results that Prosper Portland and its network of partners has generated over just the past year alone. Leveraging the general fund allocation with your partnership, we have produced these results in what is an extremely challenging economic period. I think you've heard some of the challenges that Amy outlined in the TIF districts. These outcomes reflect an agency that needs to be nimble, accountable, and as these numbers show, effective. More than 1,600 Portlanders are served by workforce development programs. Nearly half of the 181 business clients Prosper Portland helped get access to capital identify as Black, Indigenous, or people of color. And Prosper Portland provides $37 million in loans and grants, providing access to capital to 181 businesses and nonprofits. 65% of those served by the Office of Small Business and Inclusive Business Resources Network are people of color. And there are 95 employees. Many of them are represented by their union, ASME. This is a small but mighty team, and they are passionate about their work in the city. And I believe these results really speak to the hard work that they've put in over the last year to create something and make something happen. It's fair to say you allocated critical resources and this agency's delivered real results. And I'm keenly aware of the significant budget issues that you're going to be facing as a city, that we'll all be facing as a city. And I know that you all will have very difficult decisions to make over this period of time. I will say that further reductions to Prosper's Portland General Fund allocation beyond what the agency has incorporated in alignment with the mayor's budget proposal will have some negative impacts. Further reductions will mean less money for highly impactful programs, additional staff cuts, and fewer residents and business owners accessing these programs and services. I'm going to urge you to maintain the general fund support for Prosper Portland, which will enable the agency to continue and deliver the results and improvements. And I'm happy to answer questions now or later.
Thank you all very much. Colleagues, as with this morning, I want to prioritize public testimony today. I believe there's more than 30 people signed up for testimony. Are there, at this time, any truly technical questions regarding readability, accessibility, or otherwise ensuring we have the capacity to engage today? And then we will have time at the end after public testimony for more discussion. Councilor Green.
I do have a purely technical question. Thanks for being here, guys. There was a series of bar charts that had colors that were difficult for me to tell. Slide 16, there's two greens there, and I think what I'm seeing, is it correct to assume that the larger green is redevelopment and the smaller green is property management? Yes. Okay, I wanted to make sure that's what I would expect to see, but maybe my eyes are failing me these days.
No, you're right. The greens are very similar. We can work on that.
Probably an accessibility, someone that I hope you guys are not cutting when you engage your budget. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Green. Councilor Cannell.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you for the presentation. Since we're on this slide anyway, can you maybe just speak a little bit more to the property management side and what exactly that looks like in this context? In the west side, for example, is the place I think we're seeing the biggest chunk there.
Absolutely, Councilor. So the property management identified by the, I think it's the kind of smaller green portion on the bar chart, represents the cost of maintaining assets. For example, there's a more significant portion in the West Side District. That is where Union Station operations live. So what's not shown on this is the offset, which is the revenue, which is included in the budget document for each fund. Many properties have a revenue component that offsets the operations, but this illustrates the expenditure side as part of the appropriations to run those assets. So Union Station, there are other operating assets such as several garages like Station Place Garage right adjoining Union Station, but also properties held for redevelopment such as the U.S. Post Office former site for Broadway Corridor. That's contained in West Side as well.
Thanks. It sounds like, just to clarify, Amy, I think it was who went over the Lloyd piece. You said that in Lloyd will be supporting small businesses, retaining them in the district. And just to clarify, district in this context means Lloyd District, the TIF district?
The Lloyd Holiday TIF District. Mm-hmm.
Got it. And then last question is, of the SIF money, is the $9.5 million the only amount that is being used for property acquisition in the residential space? It was the bottom right of that slide.
So there is, right. Angela, do you mind going to that slide?
What slide again?
It's going to be 21.
Yeah.
Right, so the 9.5 on the bottom right would be going through right as Prosper acquiring properties.
And that's the only portion of this that is acquisition of residential properties.
Of residential, correct. And so what you see above in the 18.5 is what has been set aside for commercial properties to support business.
Thanks.
Follow-up.
Vice President Clark.
I'd just like to ask a follow-up to Councilor Connell's question. So the properties that you're acquiring, who owns them? Are they going to our housing bureau or what?
We would own them. So they would join our real estate portfolio. We already have a kind of a range of types of properties in our portfolio. We have not acquired any actual middle income as of yet with SIF, but that is what we've been looking at different properties now. They're owned by private owners now that are putting the buildings on the market.
Are we doing that in coordination with the Housing Bureau, or is this something new for Prosper?
Well, it's twofold. Yes, we're in close coordination with the Housing Bureau. These would be middle income, which is outside of the Housing Bureau's purview. So these are those that have income between 80 and 120% AMI, whereas, as you know, the Housing Bureau focuses on 60% and less.
So I just wasn't aware that Prosper is actually involved in ownership of housing.
Well, we actually already own. We have Lentz Commons in the Lentz Town Center that we developed and continue to own and operate. So we have experience in doing it, and it's an opportunity again we find to maintain the housing units and stabilize the rents.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Vice President Clark. Councilor Ryan.
Thank you, Council President. Good to see everyone from Prosper Portland. Thank you for that presentation. Attachment alert. So did you mention the repair and restore grants? And I just didn't hear it.
We did not mention them in the presentation per se.
Okay, but it's in there?
Yes, they're in there as part of our budget.
Donnie's doing this.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a dollar amount? This is a technical question.
I'll have to get back
dialogue
to
with
you.
you after the
I'll need to
test.
get back to you on that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilor Ryan. Rebecca, can we please move to public testimony?
We can. We have 30 people signed up to testify. A reminder to folks in person, you can see the timer on the screen in front of you. Online, you'll see it in Zoom. There will be a chime when you have 30 seconds left and one when your time is up. And we're going to go in groups of 5. We'll start with the first 5. Casey Barnard, Deanna D'Souza, Frozen Rafa, Joeed Aria, and Tiana Hammond.
Welcome, folks. Come on up. Please introduce yourself for the record. Share your pronouns if you're so inclined. And everybody has 2 minutes for testimony.
Should we begin in order?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for the time today. My name is Casey Bernard. On behalf...
So inclined, and everybody has 2 minutes for testimony. Hey, that's me. That's weird.
I identify as she, her. Greetings.
Hold on just a quick second while we figure out what is happening with technology.
My name is Casey Bernard. On behalf...
Sorry, we're going to check with broadcast to see what the problem is.
Hey, that's me. Okay. That's weird.
I identify as she, her. Ooh.
Hold on just a quick second while we figure out what is happening with technology.
Bernard. On behalf...
Sorry, we're going to check with broadcast.
Hey, that's me. Okay. That's weird.
I identify as she, her. Ooh.
Hold on just a quick second while we figure out what is happening with technology.
Bernard. On
Sorry, we're going to check with broadcast.
Hey, that's me. Okay. That's weird.
I identify as she, her. Ooh.
Hold on just a quick second while we figure out what is happening with technology. Oh, it's still going. Cool. Yeah.
Sorry, we're going to check with broadcast.
Hey, that's me. Okay. That's weird.
I identify as she, her. Ooh.
Hold on just a quick second while we figure out what is happening with technology. Oh, it's still going. Cool. Yeah.
Sorry, we're going to check with broadcast.
Hey, that's me. it's still going. Cool. Yeah. Oh, it's still going. Cool. Yeah.
I think we're good to go.
All right, sounds like we are back. Thank you, everybody, for your patience while we worked our way through a technical. Please start over. Welcome.
I'm a little nervous. Well, thanks for having me. My name is Casey Bernard. I identify as she, her. I work for Work Systems, the local workforce development board. I'm here today to thank you for your ongoing partnership and investment in Portland's workforce, and to urge your continued support for the Community Opportunities and Enhancements Program, otherwise known as COEP or COEP, which is the City of Portland's primary longstanding investment in the construction workforce. COEP is the designated 1% construction workforce funding established to expand access to construction careers for people of color and women, and to align infrastructure investments with workforce equity goals. Through COEP, the city funds Work Systems Community Construction Training Program, a regional construction career pathway system that supports job seekers connecting to quality careers and advancing the city's commitments to the Construction Career Pathways Project, C2P2, and the Regional Workforce Equity Agreement, RWEA. We learned in the proposed budget that COEP administration is moving from Prosper Portland to the city procurement team, and we'd like to learn more about the impact and the long-term investment in this effort. COEP currently provides $1.3 million annually to construction workforce services through CCTP, more than half of the total regional construction workforce investment.
You have 30 more seconds, you're good.
Okay. Any gap or destabilization in this funding would greatly disrupt our service providers and the community members they serve. That includes 7 trusted community-based organizations: Central City Concern, Constructing Hope, POIC, Portland Youth Builders, Labor's Community Services Agency, Oregon Tradeswomen, and the Urban League of Portland. They provide expert career coaching, pre-apprenticeship training, connections to registered apprenticeship, and retention support. They have 18.5 dedicated staff. They're highly experienced, and they serve more than 300 community members, who, the majority of whom reside in the city of Portland. Thank you for your consideration in this really important program.
Thank you very much.
Should I go? Yeah. Great. Good afternoon, Council President Dunphy and City Councilors. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Deanna D'Souza, and I'm the Community Programs Manager at Work Systems, the workforce board for Multnomah and Washington County. I'm here representing Work Systems in the Portland Economic Opportunity Program, known as EOP Portland, which is funded by Prosper Portland. I'm here to share how the Economic Opportunity Program is transforming lives by connecting Portland's most underserved residents with the tools and supports they need to find stability and meaningful employment. Thanks to funding from Prosper Portland, we've been able to provide vital employment services through EOP Portland for over 10 years. We have the honor of partnering with Central City Concern, ERCO, Our Just Future, Southeast Works, and Trash for Peace to deliver essential training and employment services to City of Portland residents. Last year alone, EOP Portland served 620 participants, 60% identified as BIPOC. Nearly a third have prior justice involvement, over half were public assistance recipients, and 23% were homeless. EOP Portland focuses on people facing barriers to employment: residents with low income, housing instability, prior justice involvement, those in recovery, and immigrants and refugees. EOP Portland offers long-term relationship-based career coaching and support services like phones, work clothing, and transportation assistance, and job training funds. These wraparound services are what makes success possible. As a result, 85% of participants exited with jobs, not subsidized placement, but real employment. Over half landed in career track roles and 57% advanced, gaining wages and higher and benefits. This is more than job placement. This is economic mobility in action. EOP Portland works with participants to move from crisis to self-sufficiency, growing our local economy. I respectfully urge City Council to fully restore and protect funding for youth and adult workforce development programs like EOP Portland in the budget. Thank you for your time and commitment to building an inclusive and equitable Portland.
Thank you very much. Don't be polite. Somebody go. Yeah.
I think
Good afternoon, council member. Thank you for opportunity to speak today. My name is Frozan Rifa. I am career coach for EUP program. I want to share the program from coach's perspective. Through our partnership with the work system and support from Prosper Portland, we do more than fill a job opening. I have seen how difficult difficult it is to maintain housing without a stable income. It is not only about paying rent, it's also about ongoing stress, uncertainty, and how quickly circumstances can change. What makes EUP different is we are not just helping people to find any job, we are connecting them to career track opportunities to offer a real growth. The kind of living wage roles that Prosper Portland and work system strive create for the inclusive local economy. The result of this approach speak themselves right now. The EUP Portland program has a 90% employment rate. As a coach, I walk alongside my participants throughout the entire process. I see the challenges, but I also see the true breakthroughs. When the participants secure a steady job with the room grow and everything began to shift, they are no longer just surviving, they are become a part of our city economic fabric again. They can pay rent, avoid eviction, and start thinking beyond immediate survival. You can see their confidence return and begin to believe their ability to move forward. I have watched participants move from worrying about where they will sleep to earning a steady paycheck or finding a place to call home. The kind of stability is not coincidence. It's happened because programs like EOP partnership, they power them, support people at every stage. Thank you for your time. I hope you will continue to support EOP so more people can have the same opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tiana Hammond. I'm the Deputy Director at PYC with our Work Opportunity Training Team. I would like to take a moment to read 2 letters from parents of the youth we serve at PYC through our programs funded from Prosper Portland through work systems. The first letter reads, "My life changed drastically when I received a late-night call from Portland Police. They had my 15-year-old son detained in juvenile. My heart dropped. I went to court the next day, dreading seeing my son in handcuffs. But to my surprise, a team of people met me in that courtroom. This team truly became family. They met me in court every 2 weeks, took time to visit my son, and even helped me advocate to get him a new JCC, who became like family as well. My son needed mental help. They got him connected to wraparound services. We met every week, and yes, it was a long road. He even did inpatient treatment for 3 months, but he graduated high school last year. He has worked 2 internships to develop his skills, build his confidence, and he is now thriving as a successful young Black man in society. Without programs like that Prosper Portland Fund through work systems, I don't know where my son would be." The second letter reads, "I would like to express my deep gratitude to PYC for their instrumental role in Jemiah's academic success, especially given her learning challenges. We enrolled Jemiah in 9th grade, drawn by the smaller classes. We believe it will provide an ideal environment for her to thrive. Her 10th grade year was the most demanding, but PYC offered unwavering encouragement during the pandemic. The staff's dedication truly shined. Jemiah reciprocated by consistently attending her online classes. Even on days when she was the only student logged on, staff remained fully committed to teaching and supporting her. Ultimately, Jemiah's perseverance paid off. She successfully graduated, a testament to her dedication in PYC's community. Moreover, PYC's commitment has extended beyond graduation. She continues to receive training, life skill coaching, job placement assistance to ensure a seamless transition into the workforce.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, members of the council. My name is Jawed Arya, and I serve as a career coach with the Next Gen Youth Workforce Program at IRCO in collaboration with Work System and funded through Prosper Portland. I have worked in this role for the past 1.5 years and I'm here today to speak in a strong support of continued investment in youth workforce programs. Youth workforce programs play a critical role in supporting disengaged and dropout young people as they pursue training and employment. Many of the youth we serve face barriers such as limited work experience, financial instability, or a lack of access to career guidance. These programs provide structured pathways that help youth build skills, confidence, and long-term economic stability. In NextGen program, we currently serve 119 active participants. Over the past year, 63 youth completed occupational skills training in high-demand industries, including healthcare, construction, IT, manufacturing, and customer service. These credentials open doors to higher quality job opportunities and improved earning potential. We also placed 37 youth into paid internships last year, many of whom were entering the workforce for the first time. As a result of these experiences, approximately 15 participants secured their first jobs, demonstrating how early work exposure leads directly to employment outcomes. To support participant success, we address barriers by wraparound services and help with licensing and certification fees. We also focus on foundational workforce skills such as resume writing, interviewing, communication, teamwork, and problem solving. Investing in youth workforce programs strengthens local economies, reduces unemployment, and supports public safety by creating productive and engaged community members. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you.
Andrew McGuff, Donnie Garcia, Shelley Hack, and Yume Delegado, Juliana Elegant.
Welcome, folks. Come on up, introduce yourselves. Feel free to share your pronouns if you'd like, and you have 2 minutes. Take it away.
Thank you so much, counselors. Good afternoon. My name is Andrew McGough, and I'm here on behalf of Work Systems, which is the Workforce Development Board for the City of Portland, Washington, and Multnomah counties. I'm here to oppose cuts to the workforce program supported through Prosper Portland as proposed in the mayor's budget. I want to begin by concurring with the Prosper Portland Community Budget Committee, an independent advisory board, who formally recommended against cutting workforce development programs. After multiple meetings and careful review, the committee concluded that reductions in workforce funding would have deep and lasting impacts, particularly on community-based organizations serving Portland's most vulnerable residents. The committee's recommendation is clear. Workforce investments must be protected. As you've heard, Work Systems manages 3 workforce programs in partnership with Prosper Portland. These programs are not standalone. They are a coordinated partnership supported by multiple investments and multiple funders, including city, regional, state, and federal resources. By working together, we increase funding, broaden access, improve services, and strengthen results. City dollars are essential, a part of this partnership. When they are reduced or destabilized, far more than local services are lost. Investments in our workforce is economic infrastructure. It matters in good times and bad, helping employers grow in strong economies and preventing households from slipping into crisis in downturns. It generates tax revenue, reduces pressure on emergency systems, and is one of the most effective tools we have to combat homelessness and eliminate generational poverty. I urge you to follow the Prosper Portland Community Budget Committee's recommendation and protect workforce investments as a core city priority. Thank you for your leadership and consideration.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Danny Garcia. I am a next-gen career coach with Portland Opportunity Industrialization Center, also known as POIC. I started my journey with them back in 2016 when I became a high school graduate from the Rosemary Anderson East Campus. During that time, I was enrolled in the Next Gen program as a participant. I was introduced into the workforce program through Next Gen, hired into an internship as a earthquake researcher over at Lewis and Clark College. I saw the benefits of the internships and how these internships helped form my life and how I could use those tools and help others. So then later in 2018, I decided to apply over at POIC. And 8 years later, I am here standing before you, showing you firsthand how they have given me the tools to overcome my barriers and continue helping others overcome them as well. Here with me, I have one of my current participants who will share her story.
Hi, my name is Adriana Campbell. I have an internship because of PLIC. I was passionate about working with Kelly's Custom Hat Wigs and didn't know how to start. POIC helped me with barriers such as getting IDs, license, and any other fees that I needed. I got paid I get paid while I have this internship, sorry. This internship means I have a mentor at POIC as well as at Callie's Custom Hat Wigs, and it helps I get value work experience, which is also helping me further my career.
Thank you guys for taking your time and taking into consideration Prosper Portland's budget. We hope that you understand how essential these programs are for us, for the youth, for our communities, and continue to help us during this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you both.
Good afternoon, Council President, Vice President, and councilors. My name is Shelley Hack, and I'm the president of AFSCME Local 3769, which represents the staff of Prosper Portland. I've been with the agency for over 20 years. During my tenure, I've been fortunate to experience significant change in the organization as it reshaped its mission to emphasize shared prosperity and equitable wealth creation in true collaboration with our public, private, and community partners. In the spirit of collaboration, our union has worked with our new executive director, Cornell Wesley, and his team, as well as our board, to craft a budget that is responsive to the feedback and guidance we've received from the mayor and councilors. This budget represents a mere 1.5 cent per $1 of general fund resources invested in economic and workforce development at a moment that investment is more important than ever before. I respectfully challenge you to consider whether or not this is adequate to support our small businesses and traded sector businesses in Portland. This budget prioritizes service delivery and has made very difficult choices about what staff and programs are impacted. Prosper just completed a round of layoff notifications that included a total of 9 filled positions, impacting 6 represented and 3 non-represented staff. Additionally, another 4 vacant or retiring positions have been eliminated. These cuts equate to an elimination of over 16% of our enrolled membership. As you proceed with your budget deliberations, my ask is that the city does not impose additional cuts to the Prosper budget, and that you engage in a dialogue with our union if you have questions or are contemplating changes to that budget. Whether your deliberations include budget increases or decreases, I'm eager to have the conversation with you about what impacts those changes will have on union staff. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Council President, Council Vice President, councilors, for the record, my name is Yume Delgado. I serve as the Vice President of AFSCME 3769, which, as Shelley mentioned, represents the members of Prosper Portland. The mayor's proposed budget makes hard choices in response to the moment we find ourselves in. In anticipation of that budget, our management has already laid off approximately 1/10 of our workforce, including more than 10% of our union staff. That is, in the literal sense of the word, a decimation of our workforce. Prosper Portland's proposed budget is responsive to the feedback that we've heard from your offices. It eliminates filled positions, and it prioritizes service delivery. Some will say that these roles are not mission critical. But I want to say here, on the record, all of these positions matter to me. They represent procurement, IT, HR, our entire equity team. Excuse me, people who have dedicated decades of their life to the ideal that we could build a better economy for all Portlanders. Their expertise, hard work, and dedication cannot be replaced. This morning, you heard from AFSCME members about the challenges that exist throughout this ecosystem. Many of those members are asking you to restore their funding, and I hope you do, but our ask is just slightly different. Our ask is simply that you continue making this investment in Portland's economic future. Further cuts will detrimentally impact our capacity to deliver services at a time when our economy needs it the most. Portland invests roughly a quarter of what Seattle does in economic development. These are challenging times, but given the stakes, I would ask that those of you who support labor lean into your values, protect union jobs, and if you feel that you must make cuts that will impact my members, at least be willing to have a conversation with our union about what those cuts will entail. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Juliana Elegant, and I work in the Office of Small Business. I'm one of the small business liaisons for Districts 2 and 4, and I'm a proud member of AFSCME Local 3769. I'm here to share my perspective as you make difficult decisions around the city's budget and Prosper Portland's budget. I started at Prosper Portland about a year ago, and I was very excited to join. I grew up watching my father give his heart and soul to city government and the city of Salem, and I was excited to make a difference in Portland, my city that I love, and follow the example that he set. My fellow Prosper Portlanders are hardworking and mission-driven colleagues, whether they're supporting Portland Panorama, sharing resources with the Inclusive Business Resource Network, or holding office hours in coffee shops around the city. They bring their heart to their work. If I send a question late at night, I receive a flurry of responses from the team that same evening. They want to make sure that we're providing service to the businesses as soon as possible. And the Portland small businesses that we work with are equally impressive. Their passion, drive, and creativity leave me in awe. I feel honored when they're willing to tell me about their fears and frustrations, and they shared more than a few tears about the challenges that they have been facing, such as inflation, security concerns, reduced foot traffic, and ICE activity, just to name a few from the past year. The emotional burden that comes with supporting these small businesses is a weight that is proper for me to carry as part of my job. However, during the year that I've worked at Prosper Portland, I have had real concerns that I would lose my job 3 separate times. Last spring, last fall, and again this spring. The extra rate has an impact, and as someone who started recently, I'm in a vulnerable position if we find that we need to make cuts to service delivery. You have a skilled and dedicated workforce that are striving to improve Portland daily and want to continue to be a part of the solution. Please remember to value that important resource as you make hard decisions. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Charles Clay, Rana Uzaman, Mike Vanier, Kathleen Bailey, Graham Morris.
And folks, come on up, introduce yourself for the record, share your pronouns, and you have 2 minutes. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Charles Clay. I'm the director of the Opportunity Center at 42nd Avenue for Portland Community College, and I manage the Next Gen grant, which a youth program with 3 wonderful career specialists, one of them to my left here. I'm here today to urge you to protect the funding from this grant and for Prosper Portland. So many young adults encounter serious obstacles to employment and personal stability, ranging from housing insecurity to access to education and have previous justice involvement. NextGen removes these barriers, providing the empowerment and clarity needed to pursue a successful career path. When we look at a budget, it's easy to see numbers on a page, line items for personnel, operating, and indirect. I see faces, futures, and a stronger community. This funding is not elective, it's a lifeline for many youth we serve. For many of our youth, these programs are the only safe spaces they have. They are the bridge between a struggling student, a person with little hope and direction, to someone that they can trust who believes in them. Cuts in funding will balance the budget, but it would cost our city far more tomorrow. We know that every dollar invested in youth development saves us significantly in future costs. So, for example, I have a participant, Jane, who was enrolled into the Next Gen grant who was at risk of dropping out of high school. But with encouragement, she completed her high school diploma at Franklin High School. And she was interested in early childhood education, so she completed an internship with Early Learning Works Preschool for All, and successfully started at Portland State University to complete a degree in elementary and special education. This with mentoring, encouragement, and support from Next Gen. When we cut youth programs, we aren't just saving money. We are withdrawing our investment to the next generation of leaders, workers, and neighbors. Our young people are watching to see if they are a priority. Let's show them that we are. Thank you for your time and your service to the community.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, councilors. My name is Rana Uzaman, he, him, and I'm the Executive Director of Portland Youth Builders, PYB for short. For over 30 years, PYB has served low-income communities of color find success. PYB has been a recipient of COEP funding from its inception, which began in 2020. Since 2020, over 200 youth have benefited from pre-apprenticeship training and career services made possible by COEP and CCTP funding, with the vast majority of the people served coming from poor neighborhoods comprised of people of color. COEP and CCTP funding has been critical to PYB's ability to build and expand capacity for our Bridge to Construction pre-apprenticeship training program, which allows us to provide quality training services and directly support people we serve in gaining living wage jobs. These jobs help break generational income disparity and the cycle of poverty for the individuals and the communities in the city of Portland. PYB has also exceeded our enrollment goals every year we were a part of this program, which highlights the need for these support dollars. As a program, PYB, of the 200 people we have served, have a completion rate close to 90%. Over 111 of these people were placed in industry jobs, and close to 60 of these folks have been placed in union and non-union apprenticeship. The COEP and CCTP dollars are a reminder that the City of Portland supports and cares about poor neighborhoods and the people who live in them. By providing funding to community-based organizations like PYB, it allows us to find ways to break, as some of my students call it, generational curses. These dollars support PYB in directly helping folks who believe they were destined to be poor find pathways towards poverty. I ask that the City Council keep COEP and CCTP funding intact during a year of budget cuts. And by doing so, you will be taking a stand in directly supporting communities and neighborhoods that feel forgotten and ignored. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike is online. You can unmute and go ahead.
Thank you. Excuse me. Good afternoon, Council President and members of the City Council. Thank you for this opportunity to testify. My name is Mike Van Eer. I'm president of OMEP, the Oregon Manufacturing Extension Partnership. We are a nonprofit, private-public partnership management consulting firm working specifically with manufacturers to help them grow, compete, and innovate. I am here in full support of Prosper Portland's business advancement team, specifically their general fund allocation. This is not an expense. It's a high-performing investment that drives growth, jobs, and creates long-term economic resiliency. Let me share a quick story. Pan's Mushroom Jerky, a Southeast Portland company, gained national attention during a Shark Tank appearance. That success created strain. Through Prosper Portland and OMEP, they implemented a lean manufacturing philosophy that built a foundation to scale. The results matter. That's over $2 million in retained sales, quadrupled their production capacity, expanded to major retailers, added 2,000 new retail partners. OMEP's partnership with Prosper Portland for over 20 years. Just in the last 5 years alone, that's over 200 consulting projects with over 99 different manufacturing companies. Many of those less than 20 employees. These companies report over $350 million in economic impact and 2,000 jobs. retaining or investing in a Prosper Portland mitigates the risk of fewer new jobs and a weaker economy. I strongly encourage you to maintain this vital work and investment. Thank you for the consideration.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Kathleen, she, her pronouns. I'm a Next Gen career coach and a resident of District 1. I'm going to tell you about a task I have on my calendar every week. It's an hour that I block off to check in. And the reason why I have that on there is to check in with my caseload, my youth, my participants. And the reason why I do that is one of the first people I worked with had a lot of barriers. When I met her, she ended up going through the dental assistant program with support from us. And she, faced some hardbacks, a lot of test anxiety. So I Googled guided meditation and we learned how to do that together. And when I went to her graduation, one of the things she said to me was, "You always checked in on me." And so I realized what that meant. Right? It wasn't that we gave her money to take her test, and it wasn't that we bought her scrubs. It was that there was somebody that was checking in with her. And so I learned a lesson from that. And when I speak with someone that's interested in our program and we talk about what they want their life to look like, I say, "Who's on your team?" And it never fails to break my heart how many people say nobody. So that's one thing that is not, you can't say that with a number. How important is it to have someone check in? But I will leave you with this question. When you were starting out, who was checking in on you? And where would you be if they didn't? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
はじめまして、オレゴン日米協会のグラハム・モリスと申します。Hi, I'm Graham Morris, Executive Director of the Japan-America Society of Oregon, commonly known as JASO. I'm here today to encourage you to support the full funding of Prosper Portland. JASO is a statewide nonprofit based in downtown Portland with the mission to support business and develop community by strengthening the US-Japan relationship. We represent over 1,100 members and 130 corporations, including many Japanese businesses and US companies that do business with Japan within city limits. We operate 20 programs in business education and culture. Prosper Portland and the Business Advancement Team is a key partner in our economic development program. This program leverages $4 for each dollar Prosper contributes in partnership with the state, the port, Travel Portland, and our own operating funds. Any call or inquiry from Japanese business, agency, or government entity that comes into any partner's office is automatically transferred to us at JASO. We discuss the needs on the Japanese side, build an itinerary that fits their goals, and host their visit. This includes private meetings with Prosper staff. Separately, we send out a newsletter in Japanese on the latest in traded sector activity by industry sector and highlight opportunities in the city of Portland, which goes out to over 1,200 business contacts in Japan, plus tour agents in Japan that host business group tours to the US. In less than 2 years since we started, we've hosted 15 groups and 3 City of Portland businesses have received specific opportunity to expand sales. One additional company is close to signing an agreement to open their new US headquarters in the Inner East Side Warehouse District. Prosper has been a main protagonist in getting this program up and running with us, and I highly recommend their work in international trade development with Japan to you. Conversely, a reduction of funding will directly decrease this service. Thank you for supporting this initiative.
Thank you all so much for being here.
Mara Rico, Julie Mitchell, Ricardo Lopez, Skylar Hall, Adriel Person.
Hola, hello counselors and community members. My name is Mara Rico, and I am Executive Director of Treasure Peace, where I help manage the Portland Economic Opportunity Program. I'm here Today, to ask you to protect funding for youth and adult workforce programs in the budget. Through the Portland Economic Opportunity Program, we don't just provide services, we walk alongside people during some of the most difficult moments in their lives, helping them find stability through employment. This quarter, we supported someone navigating expungement after losing their job unfairly. Through consistent support, they access to unemployment benefits, rebuild their confidence, and secure a full-time position as a senior maintenance manager. With something as simple as a bus pass and work clothes, they were able to show up ready and proud on their first day. Another participant came to us while experiencing an abusive home situation, and I was suddenly locked out of their housing. With coordinated support, we helped them quickly secure safe housing so they could keep their job. Just last week, they were recognized as an employee of the week. And just last week, we worked with a single mother of 3 who is about to begin an LPN program. When she first came to us, she was doing everything she could to just survive. Today, she's starting nursing school, moving into a new home, and building a career that will sustain her family. This story shows that what happens when people are given a real chance. When we invest in workforce programs, we are strengthening families, stabilizing housing, and building a more resilient community. I urge you to protect funding for youth and adult workforce program in the budget, because this work is not just about support, it's about economic and community impact. Every person who gets stable employment strengthens Portland's communities and economy. When we invest in people, we're investing directly in the future of Portland. Thank you for your time and commitment to our community.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to speak before City Council in support of continued workforce development funding for Work Systems, Inc. My name is Julia Mitchell, and I serve as the Chief Operating Officer at POIC. POIC has been serving the Portland community since 1967 with workforce development at the heart of our mission. Our partnership with Work Systems is longstanding and deeply aligned. Together, we connect young people to opportunity, stability, and long-term careers. Through NextGen, we serve youth up to age 24, many of whom are first-generation graduates, justice involved, or facing significant barriers to employment. I've heard that the best social service program is a job. This is why paid work experiences funded by Work Systems matters. It provides career exploration and reliable income. For youth experiencing homelessness, it often becomes a turning point, enabling them to secure housing and stay employed. I'd like to share a few proven outcomes when we invest early. Construction trainees go straight to work, earning a living wage of $60 an hour. I heard that this week. Semiconductor training grads go straight to work for companies like Microchip. Another outcome, successfully redirecting justice-involved youth toward employment opportunities. Every dollar invested yields long-term returns in a stronger local workforce, increased economic stability for families and neighborhoods. In closing, Work Systems funding allows POIC to continue doing what we have done for nearly 6 decades, turn opportunity into outcomes. When we invest in youth work experience, we are not just funding a program, we are investing in Portland's workforce, safety, and economic future. Again, the best social service program is a job, and this funding makes obtaining those jobs possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ricardo's online. You can go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Council President Dunphy, Vice President Clark, and City Councilors. My name is Ricardo Lopez, and I am the Career and Economic Development Director with Our Just Futures. I'm here today to speak on behalf of the Economic Opportunity Program, of which we are part of in partnership with Work Systems. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I want to begin by expressing our sincere gratitude to the Mayor and Prosper Portland on behalf of our staff and participants for retaining the workforce development funding for the Economic Opportunity Program in the latest proposed budget. Prior to the release of the budget yesterday, we had heard that this funding was potentially at risk of elimination, and our community was deeply concerned. I know a number of our participants who could not be here present today submitted written testimony opposing the potential cuts. The proposal to retain this funding is something we do not take for granted. I'm here today to respectfully urge you to protect and maintain this funding as the budget is finalized. I know the city faces some difficult decisions in this upcoming year. However, we know that the city has a strong commitment to finding and implementing solutions to address our houselessness crisis, and workforce development is central to that effort. Workforce development is not separate from addressing houselessness. It is a critical part of the solution. Employment is what allows people not only to exit houselessness, but to remain housed. As you heard from Deanna earlier, in the past year alone, this program served over 620 participants, 85% of which exited the program with employment. Many of those participants did not simply need a job posting. They needed guidance, training, and support to overcome real barriers, which our programs provide. Many of the people we serve are living on the margins, one missed paycheck or one unexpected expense away from losing their housing. Without employment, many of these individuals would either remain houseless or fall into houselessness for the first time. Our work is prevention, it is stabilization, and is far more cost effective than emergency response. Studies consistently show that the stable employment reduces reliance on shelters, healthcare, and crisis services. Even a nominal cut to this funding can have a real impact on the number of people we are able to serve. We urge you to keep this investment whole if we want fewer people entering houselessness and more people successfully exiting it. We must continue to invest in pathways out of employment. Thank you again for listening, and hope you all have a wonderful evening.
Thank you very much.
Skylar's online. You can go ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Skylar Hall, and I'm the VP of Marketing and Client Relations at AIMCO. AIMCO's products service a wide variety of industries. We distribute manufactured torque tools that tighten fasteners on your cars, bolts on wind turbines, tractors, and much more. Our electric tools that primarily serve the wind and advanced manufacturing sector globally are designed and made right here in Portland, Oregon. I am the third generation. My grandfather started this business back in 1970. As a small business in Portland, grant funding and the assistance and trade shows support that Prosper Portland has provided for us over the past decade has been extremely impactful for us. Our competitors are publicly traded companies. We are the only ones in the world that make this specific type of tooling in the United States, even more specifically Portland, Oregon. Our products are used on a global scale, and we're now proud to say that we export to over 43 different countries. We recently were awarded the Manufacturing Business and Workforce Retention Grant, funding us with $10,000, allowing us to promote associates, provide additional training, as well as hire 2 additional employees. The timing could not have been better. With the tariffs last year and the rising costs, we were forced to furlough for 6 months, losing 2 key long-term associates along the way. The additional support that Prosper Portland, including trade show marketing, has been extremely helpful and necessary in order for us to remain competitive. We pride ourselves in stating that we are small, third-generation family business and want to continue to be successful, provide job security for our employees, and support our team. We also pride ourselves in saying that we manufacture in Portland, Oregon, but remain a small family business and are committed to continuing this legacy, one that my grandfather would have been proud to see today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Mayor and members of the City Council, my name is Adrielle Person, and I am here on behalf of Work Systems, the Portland Metro Workforce Development Board. Thank you for your partnership and investment in Portland's workforce. I'm here to urge your continued support for NextGen, a critical youth employment program that connects youth, young Portlanders to training, paid work experience, and long-term career paths, helping youth build stability while strengthening our local workforce. This program year to date has, with a network of providers supported by Prosper Funds, served 502 youth. 4,203 services were rendered to NextGen youth. An average of 67% of NextGen youth were employed 180 days after their exit, or 2 quarters. An average of 83% of NextGen youth earned a credential. These outcomes are not by accident, but are the intentional work of partners, organizations, leaders, coaches who are committed to serving youth. To lose these funds would have a devastating impact on our partners' ability to serve youth, elimination of employment services for hundreds of youth, the loss of 8 career coaches and youth specialists at ERCO, New Avenues for Youth, Portland Youth Builders, Portland Community College, PCC. Leverage funding that is only available by unlocking the utilization of city general funds. Please consider the value of this program and the harm that eliminating funds will do. I urge you to restore these funds so that NextGen can continue to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Vivian Lackey, Karanja Cruz, Gavin Devanther, Charles Manico, Laura Damon.
Welcome. Come on up. Whoever's first, I don't remember.
Hello, Portland City Council. My name is Vivian Lackey. I work at Central City Concern at the Employment Access Center on 2nd and Burnside. I've been a part of the employment services there for 12 years and also a part of the Economic Opportunity Program. I'm here to voice the importance of protecting funding for the youth and adult workforce programs within this budget. Thanks to Portland Economic Opportunity Program and Work Systems Partnership, which supports our downtown homeless folks in getting jobs. Employment support is more than a resume, interview prep, career goals, and building employer relations. It takes multiple services and understanding the whole situation and complications of homelessness. One-on-one career coaching involves discovering the barriers to employment and solve or work around them so employment can be successful. Barriers are many: job gaps, disabilities, criminal background, education support needed, language barriers, domestic violence. So many problems not easy to solve on their own. We simultaneously begin accessing other resources. Services at Central City Concern that we can connect people to, such as treatment and healthcare and counseling and housing. With both housing and employment, they begin to find self-sufficiency and come away from using SNAP, Oregon Health Plan, and living on the sidewalks. They start paying taxes, being a consumer. Some are actually buying homes. Many are able to start saving and buying their first car. We have been operating on a wait list at our office program for the last 6 months. People are walking in from the streets and they're wanting help to get a job. We are in extreme high demand. The needs such as transportation assistance, tools, clothing, computer access, and many things we can offer because of the Portland Economic Opportunity Program through Work Systems. Employment helps people become housed, and support keeps them housed and employed. They both work together. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Karanja Cruz.
No, I'm Charles.
Gavin is online. Gavin, you can unmute and go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Gavin Devanther. I'm the Director of Programs at Livelihood Northwest. I've spent 14 years in business development in partnership with the City of Portland through the Inclusive Business Resource Network, or IBRN. Over the years, the IBRN and its program predecessors directly funded our support for many of the businesses that have become some of the most recognizable names in Portland, including Henry Higgins Boiled Bagels, Portland Garment Factory, Ota Tofu, Betsy and Aya, Dragonfly Chai, and Ruby Jewel, as well as some of the current up-and-comers you may already recognize, such as Hot Mama Salsa with a new manufacturing facility in Southeast Portland, the Freaky But True Peculiarium, a truly Portland experience for locals and visitors alike, Sinister Coffee with a new location in downtown Portland, Tattoo 34, the only native-owned tattoo shop in Portland, Santo Domingo Taqueria, who purchased their building and opened a second Portland location, Portland Creative Framing with 2 Portland locations, and Missionary Chocolates with their new amazing location at the airport. The IBRN serves these businesses along with more than 600 others, including workforce development participants who wish to pursue entrepreneurship. With the deep budget cuts proposed, which of these businesses should we stop supporting? Which ones does our city no longer need? And which of today's innovative startups might never have a chance to thrive? Livelihood Northwest is just one of 15 nonprofit local organizations that currently make up the IBRN, each offering complementary services and cross-referring to one another daily. Across this network, demand already exceeds capacity. In an economic downturn, entrepreneurship creates opportunity, jobs, and tax revenue. If small business and equity remain priorities in Portland, I respectfully urge you to preserve the 20-plus year investment that the city has already made in our amazing and creative Portland entrepreneurs and fund the IBRN. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Charles?
Good afternoon, council members, council president, vice president. My name is Charles Manigo. I am the construction coordinator for POIC, Portland Opportunity Industrialization Center. I've been with them for approximately 9 years or so running that program. And we have been working in conjunction with Work Systems over the entirety of that time. And prior to receiving these specific funds, we had served approximately 125 youth coming through Northeast Portland, but with these funds primarily, we were able to expand our network and move out into the greater Portland metropolitan area, and more than doubling the amount of folks that we were able to serve, totaling approximately 420 that we've served, with 350 getting jobs into living wage careers within the trades. I think that these funds are not just important, but they're a lifeline. As a journeyman carpenter, I do understand the volatility of our current workforce, and if we don't do something to keep implementing and growing and building the workforce within the trades community, we will lose it. Because the Pacific Northwest isn't your typical trades worker climate. So if we don't continue to invest in our community, if we don't continue to invest in the next generation of trades workers, we will lose that workforce. And what that means is right now we're battling against folks from the Midwest, because all of our folks from the Midwest are coming here because you can't go more than 2 miles without seeing a crane in this city. And that's very, very important to me. I want to make sure that we're able to keep dollars here in Portland and the Pacific Northwest, because that also, as you guys know, will infuse our workforce. So if we lose these funds, yes, we'll be losing, building a stable workforce, but we'll also be losing community. And we'll also be losing resilience, which is something that these programs are really building. So I really, really challenge you guys to think long and hard about what the future of this investment will be to the ones who are going to be running and making decisions for us moving forward. Thank you.
You're good to go.
Good afternoon, counselors. My name is Laura Damon. I'm the executive director at Livelihood Northwest. For more than 20 years, I've been in business development supporting Portland small businesses, and today we continue that work as a longtime partner in the city's inclusive entrepreneurship system, also known as the IBRN. I want to acknowledge the difficult position you're in. The budget reflects real constraints, and we understand that. But I want to be clear about what's at stake here for the small business community. Under the proposed budget, the city estimates 175 fewer small businesses served, reduced technical assistance, and the potential loss of 2 to 3 partner organizations, and that's at a 10% reduction. A larger cut in the budget would substantially deepen those impacts. Those aren't abstract numbers. Those are real entrepreneurs, as you just heard from my colleague Gavin, who won't access advising, capital, or the support needed to stabilize or grow their businesses. At Livelihood Northwest, we support over 800 entrepreneurs a year statewide, 86% of those are economically disadvantaged. 66% identify as BIPOC, 83% women, or gender expansive. For every $1 invested in our programs, we generate $30 in local economic return. I want to repeat that. For every $1 invested in technical assistance business support programs, we generate $30 in local economic return. This is an economic infrastructure. It's our pathway to jobs, business stability, and tax revenue in the city. So I ask you directly, if there are reductions, who will do this work? Who will replace the capacity of the 2 to 15 organizations or the 20 skilled FTE that are doing this work on the ground? I'd ask that you work with us prioritizing sustaining the programs, the partners and models that keep this system working. Small businesses need an ecosystem of support, and without it, our local economy weakens. Livelihood Northwest has been doing this alongside the city for close to 30 years, and we welcome the opportunity to continue to do so. Thank you for your time, your leadership, and your investment in the Portland small business community. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Johanna Redmond, Surya Raj Joshi, Ahsanwala Siddiqui, Nicholas Prim, Damian Crowder.
Welcome, folks.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Johanna Redmond, and I'm a career coach for the EOP Professional Immigrant Credential Program. I'm here representing Southeast Works in the EOP programs. Southeast Works was one of the first EOP programs back in 2006 when it was called the Economic Opportunity Initiative 20 years ago. I want to share how impactful the EOP programs are, particularly for immigrants facing unique challenges to obtaining training and opening doors to meaningful employment. I began working with a PICP participant in August. She came to the program with an MBA, 10 years of banking experience from Ethiopia, and a caregiving background from when she helped her father. She was open to going into either field. Through the EOP program, we were able to pay for a credential evaluation for U.S. equivalents. Together, we strengthened her resume, explored job options, and explored training opportunities. She started working at Lemlem House Adult Care in November and fell in love with it. By December, she decided to pursue her CNA training, and the EOP PICP program supported her with a laptop for school. When the CNA program was canceled, I worked with her to pivot quickly to the Mount Hood Community College Nursing Assistant Program, explained the enrollment steps, shared scholarship information through which she was awarded $2,500 through the skills team at Southeast Works, and I helped her move through the process. The EOP PICP program was able to pay for her background check and her drug screening, which would have been a financial strain otherwise and could have derailed the whole process. She's ecstatic that she's starting classes on May 4th. This is why I urge you to keep funding EOP programs like PICP. These programs give people real support in critical moments, helping them turn setbacks into opportunities and move towards stable employment and long-term success. When we invest in these programs, we invest in Portland residents, stronger families, safer communities, and a more equitable city. I respectfully urge City Council to fully restore funding to youth and adult workforce development programs like the EOP program. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Surya's online. You can go ahead.
Hi, City Council. My name is Surya Joshi. I'm a doctoral candidate at Portland State University, focusing my research on workforce development, and I have worked in workforce development sector for more than a decade. I have seen firsthand how workforce programs cumulatively and community workforce navigators program like those supported through Neighborhood Prosperity Network in particular can truly impact our communities. These programs do more than to connect people for a job. They are the first entry point for communities to seek support when they need help, finding a job or navigating an increasingly technical job search process that put communities of color at disadvantage. Also, increasingly job seekers are from the older cohort of above age 40 as our economy changes. Workforce navigators are a key node in workforce development work. They provide culturally specific guidance, build trust, and help people navigate the system that can otherwise feel overwhelming. This kind of support is especially critical in communities that have historically faced barriers to accessing workforce opportunities and are currently scared to trust institutions because of immigration enforcement activities. It is also the most cost-effective program among workforce programs currently supported by Prosper Portland, which is about $450,000 to serve 400 participants annually. Division Midway Alliance, which is a nonprofit NPN with the deep community root and engagement, recently organized Entrepreneurs in Action event, and it was good to see Councillor Smith and Councillor Dunphy at the event. The testimony provided at the event makes it clear that how place-based organizations like Division Midway Alliance support local economic development, working directly with local businesses and community. Cutting funding for the Community Workforce Navigators program would mean losing a vital bridge to the opportunity. I strongly urge you to continue supporting Workforce Navigator program and NPN networks. Thank you for your support. Thank you for support and initiatives.
Thank you very much.
We're working on getting Asenwala promoted. In the meantime, Nicholas, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Nicholas Prim. Good afternoon. I live in downtown Portland. I'm testifying on the fiscal year 2026-2027 Prosper Portland proposed budget, specifically on how it positions the Lloyd Holiday TIF district. I have developed a fully documented and well-received adaptive reuse alternative to the currently approved Lloyd Center master plan called the Lloyd Commons. However, I'm not here to pitch that today. I'm here to raise one structural concern. This proposed budget confirms that the Central City TIF districts, including Lloyd Holiday, are not projected to receive new increment in the projected fiscal year, and that limited residual resources will sustain planning efforts. I understand this, but what concerns me is what planning scope covers. A recent Portland Prosper staff member correspondence and this meeting today has seemingly confirmed that the Lloyd Holiday Working Group does not have the scope to conduct comparative evaluation of development scenarios for the Lloyd Center master plan area, even though the city's own working group page describes the group as chartered to identify investment priorities and recommend the district's five-year action plan for adoption. The Lloyd Center is one of the district's primary anchors, and there doesn't seem to be any public body for comparing demolition and adaptive reuse pathways for a primary anchor site in a district that has been recognized repeatedly for its sustainability and urban design leadership. This budget clearly seems to have a gap that should be addressed. I respectfully ask the committee to clarify before the budget is approved on May 19th whether the projected fiscal year planning scope for the Lloyd Holiday Working Group includes comparative evaluation of the master plan and, most importantly, adaptive reuse scenarios with the Lloyd Center core site. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Asenwala, you can go ahead.
Hello everyone, my name is Ihsanullah. I serve as Workforce Navigator at Division Midway Alliance. I'm here to support the full funding of the economic development of Prosper Portland. The Workforce Navigation Program funded by Prosper Portland is a critical pathway to short-term and long-term economic stability for communities across Portland and preventing homelessness and reducing poverty. The majority of participants are immigrants, refugees, and newcomers who face significant challenges entering the U.S. labor market. Workforce Navigation provides them with structured step-by-step guidance to understand employment systems, identify career pathways, assess transferable skills, and develop realistic employment plans, which are not easy to navigate on their own. This fiscal year, we already reached more than 100% of the program enrollment goal. We enrolled 103 clients, and only in the past 4 months placed 34 clients in the job. Services in the MA are comprehensive and individualized, including needs assessment, alignment of career goals with market realities, identification of skill gaps, resume development, job search support, and direct employer connection through the placement. The MA also provides services in 14 languages, ensuring timely and culturally responsive support. For example, Hasibullah, a client of our workforce navigation program, was an accountant in his home country. He spent 2 years in survival jobs after arriving in Portland. Through the program, he was able to restart his career and secure employment in his field. He continued to receive support to advance professionally. Without sustained funding, the pathway it provides to self-sufficiency would be at risk, leaving many individuals vulnerable to ongoing economic instability. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much.
Damien.
Good afternoon, Council President Dunphy, Vice President Clark, and City Council. My name is Damian Crowder. I am the Programs Manager at the National Association of Minority Contractors, Oregon Chapter, NAMAC, Oregon, and I'm here in support of Prosper Portland for 3 specific programs. One is the IBRN network, Inclusive Business Resource Network, so I don't stick with the acronyms. COEP, which is the Construction Opportunity for Equity in Public Contracting, and Reimagine Oregon. NAMAC Oregon is not just one of the partners of Prosper, but we also view Prosper as a thought partner as well, not just as a funder. We have been with Prosper with the COE program since its inception, and we've helped over 137 businesses work on technical assistance in applying for public contracting roles. Many times people consider technical assistance similar to kind of guiding someone through kind of a software program where it's about logistics. But one of the key aspects of technical assistance is that you're working with a person that has fears, they have anxiety, and many times people know technically what to do, but they're just too afraid to act. The number of times that we're working with a client on technical assistance, we work through drawings, plans for a project, and then nothing happens because they were just too anxious to go forward. One of the things that we really want to do is make sure that we try to preserve this funding. It's not just this year in particular, but in aggregate, our programming has been cut for a few years in a row, and we're getting to the point where viability is actually a concern at this point, not just a reduction in numbers. We kind of support Prosper Portland in just maintaining their budget so we can just grow in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That concludes testimony.
Thank you all so much for being here. Colleagues, it is currently 4:55. We are scheduled to go until 5. We have an absolute hard stop at 5:30. And we'll go to counselors in the queue. And this can be technical or more specific, but we will also have additional time to speak to Prosper Portland in the coming weeks. Councilor Canal.
Thank you, Council President. Thanks for the time reminder. I have a ton of questions, so I'm prioritizing on the fly here. I wanted to look into something that Yume Delgado mentioned in public testimony. And just big picture on this, I'm a little confused why the money's going up for Prosper from our side, at least on the ongoing side. And I'm hearing that everything that last year was such a topic of conversation is evidently on the chopping block. And so I don't understand that, and I'm gonna look into how that came to be. But my big question, right, that I want to start with is the entire equity team being cut? And relatedly, is co-op being moved into procurement from the city side?
Councilor, there was one position as part of the reduction in force that makes up the equity engagement, internal equity work. There was only that one position that was dedicated to that work, solely to that work.
So there was one position that's being zeroed out?
Of the 10 that have been eliminated, that's correct.
Of the 10?
Of the 10 total that have been eliminated.
Okay.
Your other question was on COEP.
Yes.
And it is correct that that's being ended in terms of the IGA with Prosper Portland at the end of this fiscal year and going back to city procurement under city operations.
Okay, I will follow up on the city side on the co-op piece. I think it's, I will be very interested in why an agency with the history that Prosper Portland has is looking to zero out equity. That's deeply, deeply concerning to me. The other question I had is related to the $9.5 million I asked about earlier. This is the non-technical part of the question. On the one hand, you mentioned that it's an opportunity to maintain housing units and stabilize the rents. On the other hand, this is the conversation that the CIF is investing in things that are income-generating properties. There is a contradiction there because in order to be income-generating, we're going to need to maximize rents, not necessarily stabilize them. So can you speak to how us becoming a landlord helps with stabilizing the rents if the property is supposed to be income generating?
Next. Want to cover the next?
Sure. So I would say a couple of items. So one is because it's income generating doesn't mean it can still hit the middle income wages and hit the 80 to 120% income while still being income generating and covering its costs. What we would be doing is while we need that generation to be coming off, so we wouldn't cover any of the gaps of that, but then we would be using that obviously to stabilize and ensure that it's an operating building. Anything beyond that gets reinvested.
Anything beyond the maintenance for the building?
Beyond the maintenance, the carrying costs of the general operations and maintenance of the building, correct?
And when you say that
Lease up,
it's 480 to 120% AMI, at what percentage of their income?
It varies deal by deal, and so we would need to we'd need to come back with you with more specifics. It depends at what the economics are for the different buildings that we're looking at.
Okay.
So we're happy to come back to you.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. And then the other question I had is everything that we've been hearing about here, COEP, IBR, COEP, IBRN, Reimagine Oregon, do they all fall into the economic development 14%, which are on, I'm looking at the pie chart on slide 8, the 14% of the overall expenditures that are on economic development?
That's correct, Counselor. That's part of that appropriation category, but that's made up of not general fund, RCT, as well as some limited CIF and TIF resources that are dedicated to small business lending. That falls in that category as well.
Okay. And does any of the city general fund allocation to Prosper go towards the 54% that is property redevelopment on the left?
I'll come back to you on that specific question. We'll provide a detail as far as the appropriations in the general fund and what goes to economic development and property redevelopment. There might be a categorization of the small business and financing component within the general fund that rolls up to that category, but we'll confirm that for you.
Okay, I got a lot of other questions, but I see others in the queue, so I'll stop here. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Cano. Councilor Ryan.
Oh, second. Thank you, Council President. Thank you for being here. It was a great presentation by the staff, and I really appreciate the testimony as well. These are difficult times, painful cuts out of the gate, and your advocacy was really appreciated. You all honed in on the return on investment of the investments that we put out to the community. That was heard. I'm going to try to go fast because I have to leave in like 5 minutes, saved by the bell. I want to first thank you, Andrew, and the team for stepping up to be a partner in the storefront support program. I will be looking at how the efficiency of that partnership is coming together so we keep having that multiplier effect.
Thank you.
I do have one primary request. I didn't know this would be my request, but I've been connecting with a lot of professionals in the cannabis industry, both retail and warehouse. And they all, when I meet with them, they ask this one question, and I kind of stumble because I need to hear it directly from all of you. They ask about the recreational cannabis tax and what benefit it provides to them. They have really tight profit margins, you know, they're cash run, they have security issues that are unique because of that. And it's been a rough few years. They also mentioned that this is their own special tax, unlike their partners in other parts of the state. So they asked me, the city funds, let's see, where do these, let's see, where's my question? Can you provide some clarity today for initiatives currently funded with recreational cannabis tax funds?
Thank you for the question, Councilor. The recreational cannabis tax dollars primarily go to My People's Market, which is focused on equitable access to retail and other small business sales channels that host 2 markets a year. They also now have a physical brick and mortar and PDX in the airport, as well as IBRN. One of our partners, there was I think 15 mentioned by Gavin earlier on, is New Project, and they're specifically focused on cannabis businesses, especially of people of color.
I think I met with someone from that team at one of the warehouses, and that's not. They tell me that they're not going specifically to cannabis, so I think that one is a shining example of what resonates.
Happy to follow up with you on that. We've met with a lot of different business owners, and we can't necessarily always do direct financial assistance to them based on the industry that they're in, so we have to get creative.
Yeah, I'm taking this all in. Also, what are the 26-27 funding amounts, and what initiatives do you plan on supporting this upcoming year? Is it the same that you just mentioned?
Through RCT?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the same buckets.
Okay.
My People's Market and IBRN primarily, and Reimagine Oregon, of course, as well.
Okay, and does Reimagine Oregon go to any BIPOC, Black-owned cannabis organizations?
That's the exclusive and primary focus of it, is to go to businesses and entrepreneurs and nonprofits that have been affected negatively by the prohibition of cannabis.
Okay, I'll get those details from you as well.
Sure.
And you're also going to give me details on the repair grants. Can I add one little thing here at the end? I had a wonderful afternoon last Friday on our 22nd. I was trying to connect the dots between how NAIA was supporting them along 42nd and how it's connected to Prosper Portland's COLI TIF. And it is all connected, correct?
That's right.
We were there solo, but we were guided there by NAIA, and I really appreciated it. I kept hearing, though, that they were really supportive of that stewardship that they provide. And it almost sounded like they were telling stories of a neighborhood business association, like it's bringing them closer together so they all know each other because of this. So it was very, very positive. In fact, their only consistent criticism was that they want a crosswalk between Killingsworth and Prescott, maybe two. But other than that, it was all very glowing. So I wanted to leave you with some glowing. I'll dig in deeper with you on the cannabis tax, and I look forward to seeing that we will have the repair grants restored, continue to make them more user-friendly, more like a grant and less like a reimbursement. People are cash challenged right now. And so sometimes the fact that they're cash challenged makes it difficult to get those grants. So increasingly, they just choose to have a board up instead of putting a window up, which doesn't do a lot for neighborhood friendliness.
Understood.
Okay.
Thanks, Councilor.
All right, off to the dragon boats. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Ryan. Councilor Smith.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you for the presentation. I have a couple things that I wanted to discuss and get some clarity on. In terms of the Reimagine Oregon money, how much of that is going to be taken out of the 26-27 budget?
Harmless.
Yeah, the allocation, Councilor, right now in the 26-27 budget is approximately $2 million of the total 3.1, I believe, in Reimagine, but we can follow up with specifics as well there.
And that particular program is funded through the marijuana program, correct?
That's right, through the recreational cannabis tax dollars.
Okay, so that would mean that 2/3 of those dollars are going to be removed from being funded. 2/3 of African American businesses and nonprofits who serve the Black community, correct? Because that's what the Reimagine money is for.
I don't believe the reduction is that at that magnitude at all, but I'd have to get back to you with the specific impact.
You said, how much did you say that is being taken out?
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor, there's a total budget for RCD that's programmed at about $3.1 million.
Uh-huh.
That's in the proposed budget.
In the proposed budget, and how much is taken out? Are you taking out?
There's nothing being taken out. That's the full proposed budget.
Okay,
for
that's
RCD.
what I was. That's
Yeah,
what I
the
was
commitment
asking.
to Reimagine is remaining constant.
Okay, so Reimagine is going to be kept whole.
That's right.
The COEB program. When I was the chair of the Labor and Workforce Committee, we had a conversation about COEB, and I thought COEB had one more year on their contract until 27, 28.
The IGA with the city
Yes,
expires at the end of this fiscal year.
at the end of this fiscal year, June 30th.
The current fiscal year.
2026. And there was some conversation on, City Life is now the new labor and workforce, and Councilor Purtle Guinea is chairing that. But the conversation that we had was that there were some issues around money, having enough money in the COEP, and now we're totally cutting that out.
I think that's a question probably for the DCA of City Operations and the procurement office, in terms of, because it's a it's a 1% utility ratepayer fund.
We were supposed to be talking about how do we restructure a new contract, DCA Alavera, and I'm trying to figure out how to keep those resources in, because if we're going to create those living wage jobs, the quickest way to get a living wage job is to have folks trained through apprenticeships to become journeymen. And if we're not training those folks, when all these cranes are up in the air, they're gonna go and get folks from out of state. So I don't understand how Work Systems is losing $260,000 and how we're not trying to reorganize COEP in a way that makes sense.
Thank you for the question, Councilor. Donnie Oliveira for the record. Councilor, what we're solving for right now is Prosper's working with procurement to currently sunset the existing IGA, the one that we're in right now. So that'll, result in a final report back to the city on how the dollars were spent. And simultaneously, procurement and business operations are going to be prepared to stand up COEP managed out of the city. So really, the only machination that's happening is Prosper is being removed from an administrative role, and that'll just reside in the city.
So the money for Work Systems, the $260,000 that's coming out for the pre-apprenticeship programs,
that's a general.
Is that the same money, or is it a different pot of money?
That's a different pot of money, Councilor. That's actually a general fund reduction as proposed. The COEP contemplation is actually now out of procurement.
So are we expecting, so the COEP is going to be 1% of whatever comes through for development?
Correct. And Councilor, I think it would be most appropriate, as Andrew just said, for us to work with the business operations side to get you some information on what the plan is for COEP for 26, 27.
Yeah, I'm glad you came up here, DCA Alavera, because I want to make sure that if you could help to bridge that gap of information, because there's two things that I'm concerned about in this budget that I was really trying to make sure I understood it. It came out so late last night, so I didn't have a chance to make any calls to anybody to be prepared for today. But just briefly going through the short synopsis, I got a call from Andrew McGuff about the money, and if Andrew is concerned about it, I'm certainly concerned about it. I'm doubly concerned about the fact that our pre-apprenticeship programs are going to be losing. Particularly, I saw all of POIC coming up here today, and those folks are going to be not in a position to continue those jobs and to help people in a way that's really, really meaningful. We got three big infrastructure projects that are here in the city of Portland, and we got to maintain those projects with people who are from Portland. And I just want to make sure, if you can help me understand the COEP and the money that's supposed to go to Work Systems offline, that would be great if you could do that.
Yes, ma'am. On it.
On Prosper's side, we're happy to continue to work with those same organizations that have been worked with over the last 6 years to make sure there's a seamless transition. A lot of those folks were here obviously testifying, and it's in our interest to help the city stand up a resource that's equally effective.
Yeah, and I saw that there's $500-some thousand that are going to be removed from the entrepreneurship program that you have. And so I don't understand all these different things, and I think it's just like a shell game, because then you also lifted up the street, what do you call it? Councilor Ryan's
The
group.
storefront improvement grants.
So did you just switch the money around?
We had about $2.1 million in one-time that were expiring from the current fiscal year to this fiscal year. And so we're trying to solve for that expiration of the one-time. And then also, of course, to live up to the direction that all of the bureaus received in terms of budget cuts across the board.
So for 25-26, did you have any leftover marijuana money?
I'd have to get back to you on that, Counselor. I don't believe so.
You didn't have any beginning working capital from that particular pot of money when you started July 1st?
We'd have to go through a carryover process, but I don't believe so.
Didn't carry over any of those dollars? No. There were no leftover dollars from the marijuana money?
I'd like to get back and confirm it for you, but I don't believe so, no.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilor Smith. Councilor Canal.
Hi. So I actually just want to pull on one of those threads a little bit. There's $2.1 million of expiring one-time money, but there's still a new $1 million, which I believe is the storefront conversation. What was funded by the $2.1 million of expiring one-time money?
For that. So, Councilor, the 2.1 was identified as approximately $1 million for internal operations across different general fund programs. So that's primarily staff, and we've identified that.
That's kind of where the 10 positions we've been talking about.
Yeah, 5 of the 10 positions approximately. So that's about $1 million. The other $1 million was related to workforce, but that was restored as ongoing funding in the mayor's proposed budget. And that element includes about $700,000 to $800,000 for workforce programming.
So it was replaced as ongoing.
That's correct.
And it was taken out as one time.
But Councilor, if you recall, going back a full year, the original 2.1 was ongoing, replaced with one time, and the budget note directed us to contemplate how to restore that 2.1 back to ongoing. And of course, just given the budget scenario, we weren't able to replace the full 2.1, so only half is going back to ongoing.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. The other question I had, you have, there's a slide, I forgot the number. Slide 11. There's 100 businesses that are marked as assisted that are NA and 52 that are outside of Portland. Can you speak to that side of it? And also a little bit about, like, just trying to understand kind of how that squares with the broader description of it.
Yeah, on the intake side, there could be some businesses that were simply missed as far as them putting in their own information or us collecting that from them, or them perhaps not wanting to disclose where their location is, or they could actually indeed be not physically located in Portland, but perhaps interested in moving into Portland. For example, starting a new business or relocating into Portland from outside of Portland.
Great. Thanks for that. And I will stop there. Thanks.
Thank you.
Fantastic, because we are about to lose quorum. Colleagues, the Prosper Portland Budget Committee has received the budget message and the budget document and taken public testimony. This fulfills the requirements of the first meeting of the Budget Committee under ORS 294.426. We will formally reconvene to hear any amendments, vote on amendments, and vote to approve the fiscal year 2026-27 budget at 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday, May 19th. The resolutions and exhibits required to approve the budget will be filed by Prosper Portland on May 15th, 2026 at 9 a.m. This meeting of the Prosper Portland Budget Committee is adjourned, and the meeting of the Portland City Council is returned from recess. This concludes item 3. The report has been to submitted council and no action is to accept is required. We will now recess this meeting of the Portland City Council until tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. to take public communications and continue our regular legislative business for the week. We are now in recess until 9:30 a.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, April 22nd. Thank you all for your time.